Hello everyone. It is time to continue the Ninjago Masters of Spinjitzu set build. We're on to bag number 5, which is the lower level of the main temple of the set. There are 2 minifigures in this bag number 5. These guys have names again. This is Lloyd and Misako. The detail on the minifigures, as usual, is always great. The printed detail is awesome. Even just the accessories, the headpiece on the ninja and just the hair pieces are quite nice. That's why minifigures are expensive. Let's get right into building. Now the footprint of this is quite big. Gives you an idea of how large this is going to be. Please check out parts 1 and 2 so you can see the first 2 buildings that go with this set. Now I gotta be careful, this overlaps by 1 stud. Oh, well I put this on incorrectly. Good old brick separator. It's supposed to be this way. So there's a bunch of attachment points here at the base. A lot of this is going to be covered up, I'm sure. This is going to cover all this up. There's the base, guts of the base anyway. There's a turntable here that this attaches to. Not sure why, because it doesn't actually rotate. Another turntable. There's definitely some interesting construction. So you see this turntable here, which is on top of another turntable underneath this bigger assembly. It's going to get fixed in place the moment I put this piece on. Maybe there's some function, like that small amount of movement. Maybe that's going to be important. There's an elastic band in this set, so don't know. Maybe it'll surprise us. I could be completely wrong about this turntable. That can spin. Okay, well, we're going to use the elastic now. We got a gear. Stick the gear on. Now the elastic goes into that yellow Technic part. Sit in here and then wrap around the bottom part of this. Now that can turn. Okay. Alright, there's a snake. I don't like snakes. Well, I mean, I'm not adverse to snakes in general, but the part, the Lego part, because it doesn't sit well anywhere. It's just loose. But luckily, they're showing in the instructions that, and I'll make sure I get this right, there's a hole underneath this part, so the tail of the snake goes in there, and then that attaches into this hook. So now this is fixed, which is good. So it's a snake, but it's a fixed part. Don't know what it's for. Is it actually a snake or is it acting as another piece? All right, got some little miniaturized minifig statues. For whatever reason they go in here. And some nice translucent flame pieces. Some large pre-molded kind of mountain terrain pieces. These are quite common actually. Well, that's the end of bag number 5. I'm going to stick my minifigs over here. That's the base of the temple. Some pretty good detail on the inside here. I'm starting to see what this is going to be now. It'll be much more apparent once we do bag number 6. For now, I'll just show the features. Most of this is just infrastructure. I think there's going to be some sort of a fountain here, just the outside of the temple. The main interesting part is on the inside here. Again, I'm not sure if that needs to move. It is, kind of looks like something is going to go in here, but you can just see that little bit of movement. That's all it can do. But this can rotate. And then there's a snake there. And again, once bag number 6 is done, this will be much more obvious what this is used for. So that being said, let's just get right into bag number 6. Not a whole lot of parts, but a couple interesting things. This piece, I have never seen this piece before. Quite intricate detail. And there's a light brick, the use of which will become apparent shortly. Let's build up our foundation and put the functionality into this assembly here. Gonna have to move my minifigs out of the way. Here's the light brick. This goes into this pocket right here. So if I push on this, the light brick will go, and then this assembly, which doesn't move very much, does move. So that perhaps will come into importance later. But right now that's just loosely sitting right there. This brick now sits. Okay. So that closes in that light brick, and now it pops this out a little bit. Now if I push this in, okay. If I push this in ever so slightly, that hits the light brick. So this did have a function. Our intricate piece goes here. This is like a spiral staircase. Looks pretty nice, little spiral staircases. So this is a crank handle. It's not attached right now. We'll get the rest of this built and show how it's going to function. Okay, the way they've designed this is to engage the light brick and engage this gearing mechanism. You have to give this a bit of a push, and then when you push it, you can both engage the light brick and rotate this assembly here in the middle. And then when you let go, it disengages the light brick. Not a bad way of doing that, I guess. Now there's this really unique piece, which is a piece of plastic with a bit of a pattern on it. And this is translucent, so light can get through, which will be important here in a minute. This will slide in here and just loosely sit there, and these can get rotated up to hold that into place. But now if I push the light brick, I don't know how well this is coming up on camera, but now when I engage the light brick and rotate this, you can see little shadows across. So it's like a shadow play. that is the end of bag number 6. And it completes the lower part of the temple. Some fairly interesting detail. So there's some nice spiral staircases. We got our 2 minifigs. Then inside, that fire pit with a couple statues, a snake, and then the light brick. I can see it from here. It actually looks really good. So I'm hoping that shows up on camera. You can see the shadows across the front. And by rotating that bucket in the middle, you can see a bit of a different scene showing up. Well, what do you think of the construction? There's actually a lot of unique things that went in here to this slightly extended out assembly, which allows the light brick to be engaged. You have a rotating handle, which also doesn't get engaged until you push it in. But the actual mechanism runs really smoothly. So not quite as boring as I thought it was going to be when I initially started doing the build a couple videos ago. I think it's starting to look okay. So the next part will be starting the upper half of the temple. Thanks again for watching. We'll continue the build next week.